Everybody loves themselves. On earth, there are so many people who don't think they love themselves. All people innately love themselves, because that is our true nature, love. We cannot love others without loving ourselves first, it's impossible. The only reason you might not think you love yourself is because you are hearing negative ego messages saying you are flawed. This is what you've learned on earth and that has to be dealt with. You always love yourself, you can't do anything but that. It's about digging through the muck to realize that all along, your love for yourself was what drove you to do the digging. This universe is made of consciousness, your consciousness, and all others under the umbrella of God consciousness. Universe is a word that when broken into two means uni, which means one, and verse, which means song. There is one song that this universal consciousness sings, and that song is love. Ivo, consciousness is love. It is of the highest energy. Those who incarnate on earth are given free will, to be loving or less loving. There is no such thing as unloving, there is no negative aspect to all that is. Me, what about the dark ones? Ivo, yes, I stand corrected, they have fallen from the God matrix and are inherently unloving by nature. All of those upon the God matrix are capable of love, to varying degrees, and I address them only. However, those of you who are suffering, I have a message for you. Instead of feeling like you are unworthy of something, perhaps you feel that you did not get a job you wanted, and for that reason, you must question your skill set. The details of this are another story. However, let us focus on your judgment of yourself as being unworthy of the position. Obviously, there are many things to consider about the job, and these are the details: that perhaps someone else was hired because they have friends in the company, or because they had a little more experience, or things of that nature. But now that you did not get the job, you feel that you should be down on yourself. You are being less loving towards yourself, and you must then look at how you could be more loving of yourself instead. How did you feel when you graduated from college? Like you had accomplished your goal satisfactorily, of course. Can you transfer those feelings to your current situation? To look at all the wins you had applauded yourself of along the way, instead of being down on yourself now. Getting a job is not always a question of simply your skill set and a superficial look at your personality from the hiring manager's perspective. Your soul always seeks out the best positions for you to learn life lessons from, and so perhaps a position you might feel is more suitable for you would be passed over. Me, aha. That's why I ended up in places that I sustained a lot of abuse in. Ivo, yes. Because that is how you spent the bulk of your day and you had to learn. Me, Ivo, I felt so many times I was in over my head. Wouldn't it be better to extend yourself less and to gain positive experiences from the jobs you're working rather than being totally inundated and not able to cope with the stress of having to work with abusive people? I feel now that the first thing to do is to decide who I want to relate to, and then I usually only relate to a few people at a time because dealing with a lot of people at once would be too much for me. I curb the number of people I relate to a very few at a time, otherwise it's too much. Why wouldn't soul work the same way? What was the purpose of throwing me into the deep end in my first job? I was way over my head and feeling very suicidal then. Why? Ivo, you learned, my dear. You felt you were over your head, but without that heavy start into your recovery, you would not have learned as quickly as you did. We were hoping, in fact, to begin working with you when you were around 30 years old, but you were not ready yet. Me, no, because I was so shell-shocked by that point I couldn't cope with life. Ivo, yet you moved to London, England. Me, I knew there was no safety at home. Ivo, and going overseas would be easier for you rather than at home? Me, yes. So I did it. And it was easier, thank God. I was right. They are more civilized there than they were where I come from. Ivo, and how much did you learn there? Me, I think I made progress because I was more able to assert myself with people. Ivo, you did not learn as much in those 10 years as you did in the prior decade. And that was the goal of Aurea, to get you to learn as much as possible as quickly as possible, but you resisted. Me, I felt like I had some control over my life for a change. Plus I even started enjoying myself while I traveled. So I still think it counted for something. Ivo, yes, it did, but a harder existence would have been more helpful for you to obtain your life's goals. Me, I don't agree. Ivo, that is fine, my love. You did what you did. Me, it was the first time in my life I felt I could breathe. Ivo, your soul had a different focus, and that was to get you through it more quickly so that you had the rudiments down in order that we could work with you. Me, and what were they? Ivo, that you be more loving to yourself. That you be loving to others. That you were empowered to assert yourself, and that you could make wise decisions. The latter took a bit of time. Me, ha. Ivo, do you consider shopping for chocolates in Switzerland something you would do to make you a wiser person? Me, no. But it was fun. Eating them was even more fun. Ivo, I rest my case. Your soul is challenging you in life in order for you to acquire the three facets of godliness, wisdom, love, and power. Putting you in situations where you had to stand up for yourself, learn who to trust, and know who to love was her agenda. Me, my agenda was drinking glue wine in the Christmas markets in Europe. Aurea's no fun. Ivo, I might add, my love, that the life of the light worker, who has come here to change this world, is not always about fun. Your focus on seeing the world and enjoying your experience in fact takes you away from the heavy schedule Aurea had set for you. Me, you guys are no fun. Ivo, we are. However, now that you have made it, you can travel all you like. Me, yeah, with a mask on and quarantines. I really don't have any inclination to travel anymore anyway. Ivo, and why do you think that is, my love? Because you have done the work and found your true calling. Doing this is what makes your heart sing. We were attempting to steer you to that all the time. Me, it does make my heart sing. Glue wine and chocolates will have to wait. But if anyone is out in Switzerland and wants to send me Mozart Kugeln. LOL, just kidding. Ivo, you do not even eat chocolate any longer. Me, true. Ivo, many light workers are contracted to hard lives of work, and you were in fact, getting off course. When you got back to Toronto, we spoke to you directly and you understood that it was your guide speaking to you, yet you still did not listen. We had to keep working on your stubborn independence. Me, I remember that Valentine's Day when you showed up. I can't remember if it was the year that it was suggested to me in my 12-step group to buy myself roses. Do you know what a loser I felt like buying myself a dozen red roses because nobody else wanted to? Ivo, and I showed up, and tapped on your knee, and you thought it was your grandfather. Me, I was a tough nut to crack, wasn't I? Ivo, at that time you were ready to channel for us, but we had to find a way to get you to cooperate. It took some time. Me, why didn't you just talk to me like you ended up doing? Ivo, because you did not believe it was possible for a relationship to exist between an ET and an Earth person. Finally you read the book by Elizabeth Clarer. But that was after your life took another turn when you took Glenn in for 3 years. Me, ah yes. Fun and games. Living with a bipolar crack-addicted alcoholic who beats women. Somehow buying myself roses doesn't sound so bad by comparison. Ivo, you have left all of this behind you, by and large, now that you are channeling us. Do you see the difference being in contact has made for you instead of doing it yourself as you were? Me, I knew you had a point to make, my love. Ivo, I do. You are better off with our guidance and having contact with us. Not only are you doing the work we desire you to do, we protect you now from many the dark would send your way. So there is a trade-off for all light workers who are attempting to live your lives without inner guidance. You trade off some of your independence and free thinking in order to live more pleasant lives based on your soul's values. You are happier. As you do the work to embody your higher self, you benefit by obtaining greater levels of satisfaction in life. Me, I know many want to make contact and are dying to start. Ivo, then I would suggest that you make efforts to give up as many of your extraneous activities as possible and focus on this contact. Develop single-mindedness. Living lives as prescribed upon your earth do nothing to enrich your soul contact. In fact, your entire world is created in such as way as to retard or prohibit such contact in the first place. Me, you mean it's a big distraction? Ivo, yes, and it requires the use of the intellect to navigate this game. It is intuition you wish to develop, and that is done more in quiet times of solitude. Me, got it? Ivo, if you reach the point where you have contact, you will find, as Sheran does, your desire to explore what this world has to offer may wane because your inner world has so much more to offer. Me, aha. Thank you, Ivo. This might seem contradictory to what others might advise, but we say it as we see it here. Ivo, your outer lives are a distraction from your inner life. Develop your inner life by becoming still. Me, and no more shopping for chocolates. LOL, well, maybe once in a while. Ivo, as long as it does not dominate your focus, that is all. This is where you find the love you are all searching for, within. And then you can create it in the outer physical world.